A lot of y'all, and y'all know, as a result of attending the Patreon webinar last night, if you have not checked it out, link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. A lot of y'all know of how I handle my money. As a matter of fact, one of the things that I did, in addition to showing you the direct deposits and the payments, is I showed you some of my bank accounts that I have tied to those direct deposits and those payments, right? And so some of you know that I keep very, very little money inside of my bank account. As a matter of fact, here, let me show you what's in my main bank account. Shouldn't be any more than a couple $1,000s in there. I'm broke, baby. Wow, where did that extra money come from? Where did that extra money come from? No, you're not taking my money. We about to go out of town with this baby. We going out of town with this baby. This is my bank account right here, y'all. Broke. I'm broke, baby. I'm broke. We got $3,000 in my bank account. See that? $3,164.39. I'm broke, baby. It's tight out here in these streets. So the question then becomes, because a lot of y'all say, Anton is out here tapped out. He broke. I think he's running out of money. I don't know how he's still able to pay his guests and Charleston White and all of this other type of stuff. How's he able to keep up payroll? I advocate for y'all to get out of savings accounts, right? And I have not watched this video, but people sent it to me, and I've been meaning to go over this for a period of time. Savings or keeping your money in the bank is not ideal. Keeping your money in the bank is not ideal. All right. So I want to go over this video as a result of it, and then I want to react to it. Make sure you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. And if you want to see how broke I really am, if you want to see my W-2, you want to see my brokerage account, you want to see my payments from YouTube, you want to see how much money I make, be sure to join the Bag Chasers, as Azriel just dropped inside of the chat, so you can see how broke I really am, and you can see how tapped out I am, because I absolutely need y'all help in order to continue to survive and feed my family, and go over to Tokyo and go over to the Dominican Republic and then fly over to Montreal in Canada and then go to Toronto. And then I got to come up with some money to get myself over into the Patreon meetup today. Over this weekend. All right. So reading super chat shortly. Thank y'all for continuing to make sure that I'm not too broke. Let's get it, ladies and gentlemen.
In 2022, the American personal saving rate fell to a low not seen since the Great Recession.
I think a lot of people have been just kind of cooped up during the pandemic times, and now we're transitioning plus inflation. So it definitely has.
Hey, Rita, can you get me my $9,000 watch so I can put it on? Because I know I ain't got nothing in my bank account, but I definitely need to have that watch on. It's in my book bag, in the front of my book bag. In one of the front pockets of my book bag. Because I'm feeling a little naked out here because I ain't got no watch game on at all. If y'all want this Follow God, not hoodie culture, Follow God, not culture hoodie, the link is in the description for y'all to be able to pick that up. I think it's only like $60. That's what he said. And it got it on the back. Let me see. Oh, that's dope. This is broke boy culture right here. That's rose gold. Rita just flashed me. This is rose gold right here. All around that, that's rose gold. See the back of that? This is my Omega. I just got this like a month ago, 2 months ago, I think. Let's continue to watch the show. Reading super chat shortly.
It's been a little bit harder.
Economists look at this savings dynamic in a sort of benign light. Savings accrued over the early part of the pandemic, and that's starting to get spent down. But on the personal level, though, that's not a pleasant process.
This real-time dip in saving is stressing out a lot of people.
70% say they are stressed about their personal finances, and that includes 57% of people earning $100,000 or more. And the main factors contributing to financial stress for the six-figure set include inflation, economy-wide instability, interest rates, and a lack of savings.
The basic necessities of life substantially burden your income. it becomes difficult to save.
That said,
Americans are sitting with a lot.
Hey, shout out to the new bag chasers. I see a lot of y'all signing up for the Patreon to come and see how broke I am. Give a round of applause for all of the new bag chasers. I know y'all want to see how much I'm tapped out. Shout out to the people that's paying to see how broke I am. I'm with that.
More savings than they had in the past.
according to bank deposit records, Americans as a whole are still better off than they've traditionally been. How much depends on which side of the income distribution you're on.
Now, what y'all have to see here, right, is that you have to account for the rate of inflation. So when you're looking at this list and it's saying 1990, 1988, 1996, or whatever, so on and so forth, and then you see 2010, 2022, or 2020, 2018, or whatever, so on and so forth, and you see that upward trend and you see a jump. You also have to account for the value of money today is much different than the value of money in yesteryear, right? The amount of what it costs to buy a house, what it costs to buy a car, what it costs to go and fly and buy a movie ticket and all of these different things, then factor into what we would contribute as far as what the assets level or the check deposits or the currency that we're then using to justify this chart right here. So let's just take that into consideration.
Regardless, Americans across the board were drawing down those savings in the final quarter of 2022. So, why did Americans stop saving? And what effect will that have on this massive group of people that we call the economy?
My name is Michael, but the interwebs know me as the Bougie Budgeter.
Woo! Shout out to Michael. Shout out to Michael. I didn't know they was going to hit me with a bougie budgeter black woman. I love reacting to black women. Black women, they going to give you either an extreme version of broke or they're going to give you an extreme version of budgeting. We know that some of them can't cook, the most recent black woman that's been born. What's up to my girl, Sherelle? I love you, Sherelle. I'm going to be reading Super Chat shortly. Let's see what the bougie budgeter is talking about. I want to see what she got going on.
Because I make money easy. I am currently based in Phoenix, Arizona.
The majority of US households use bank accounts. Michael represents one of these households.
I do take about 8% of my total income, and that is to my 401 contributions. My company matches at 8%.
It's not a 401, it's a 401k contribution. I know she probably got tripped up in her verbiage, but okay.
I also try to save an additional 15%, as well as another about 10% of my take-home pay I put towards my investing goals as well.
So that's pretty good. So she's saying 8% is contributed towards the 401k. Let me just hear her one more time.
Save an additional 15%, as
15%.
well as another about 10% of my take-home pay I put towards my investing goals as well.
So let me tell you what's wrong with this scenario, because a lot of people are off. And this is why I say a lot of people don't understand money. Doesn't mean that she's not doing the right thing, but the numbers are skewed because she's saying it's based off of her take-home pay. Her take-home pay. I love you, Sherelle. I'm sticking beside you too, baby girl. So this is not based off of what she grosses. This is based off of what she takes home. So when she's saying a percentage of her take-home pay is being allocated towards it, then that changes the dynamic and the conversation altogether. Because one of the incentives that you have as a business owner, as a person that's contributing into your 401k, your contributions or whatever like that, is that you get the pre-tax deduction that then changes how much your adjusted gross income you're being taxed on in the end. So at the end of the year, right, when you get your 1040, okay, your adjusted gross income is the amount that they tax you on. And that's going to be the determining factor for whether you get a refund or you have to owe money, right? Now, the adjusted gross income is your money that you made minus the tax deductions plus what it is that you contributed, what came out of your taxes, minus what you made or plus what you made from your business. That's what your adjusted gross income is, okay? So when she's saying her take-home pay, that's after she pays the federal government. I believe that you should allocate at least paying 10% to yourself in the very beginning of your pre-tax income. If you make $100,000 a year, then you should be paying yourself at least $10,000. Also, on top of that, make sure that you guys are getting at least up to the match before you start paying off your debt. The only time that I say that you shouldn't pay off your debt first is is to not get the free money associated with the 401k. So a lot of y'all got jobs. A lot of y'all are not getting the match. A lot of y'all not even contributing to your 401k. While you have debt, you should allocate monies towards paying off the majority of your debt first, but make sure that pre-tax you are at least getting up to the match, because it's free money from your employer for what it is that you contribute into your contributions. Okay, just because you can't pick it up and you can't see it and you can't use it doesn't mean it's not free money that you shouldn't take advantage of. So she's basically saying 8% goes into her 401k, which we do also know that there's a difference between a 401k and a Roth 401k. And then she gets 15% going to savings, and then another 8% or 10% or something post-tax that's going into her personal investments, which I'm sure is some combination of personal stocks, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, or something like that. But let's continue.
So my personal savings rate after my take home, I shoot for about a 15%, and I have my savings auto deposited right into my high yield savings account, because if I do not do that, then I will accidentally spend it, and I am a recovering overspender. And
somebody in the chat said that they usually keep $30,000, which is the equivalent of about 6 months, I guess, for them in living expenses, in a savings account. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me, because your money should always be in assets that work for you, that generate more revenue for you, or at the very least is beating the rate of inflation. So you keeping it in a savings account is actually not doing anything for you. What it's actually doing is lowering the amount of money that you're making, because it's being eroded based off of the value of the dollar and the cost of living expenses every single day. So what I advise, well, I'm not going to advise you anything. I'm not a financial advisor. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon link is in the description, as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I believe in getting rid of the money. At the very least, you need to get rid of all the debt first, right? Because we know what you're paying in debt. We know what you're paying in credit card interest. We know what you're paying to your mortgage. We know what you're paying towards your car note. Anytime you have to give money over into the servicer of your loan, you're giving away free money. It's not about maintaining living expenses. It's about reducing the cost of how much it costs you to live on a month-to-month basis by getting rid of the debt that then prevents you from being able to leverage your assets to make more money. So let's continue. I don't believe in savings accounts. I do not believe in savings accounts. Let me make that very, very clear. I am not an advocate for savings accounts. I'm not an advocate for keeping and holding on to cash. I'm an advocate for holding on to assets that then generate cash or generate revenue, or that you can tap into in order to pull money out of in order to do other things that's big for you. I'm not a fan of savings accounts at all.
that was my solution to not overspending.
Collectively, Americans have trillions more in savings than they did prior to the pandemic.
For a broad swath of Americans, their financial condition is still probably better than it was pre-pandemic.
But those cash cushions are deflating for the first time in years. The personal saving rate reflects how much income Americans hold onto after their taxes and regular spending.
It's basically just the amount of that is not consumed.
Much of that income, particularly for what I define broadly as underserved communities, tends to go toward basic necessities like housing, food, healthcare, transportation.
In February 2023,
This is lifestyle. So basically in 2023, the personal savings rate is the equivalent of 4.6%, which is not even paying yourself enough to justify going to work every day. Because a lot of people are tied to lifestyle creep. They use the money that they then have to be taxed on in order to then maintain a lifestyle.
personal saving rate was hovering around 4.5%. That's compared to a long-term average of just under 9%.
You would see spikes around the dates when those stimulus checks were sent out and those were not getting spent. Of course, the other thing that happened early in
Somebody in the chat said, what about an emergency fund? Where do you hold your money in an emergency fund? I don't have no fucking emergency fund. What do I need an emergency fund for? Why do I need an emergency fund? My ability to be able to get to more money is all that I need. At any point, I can liquidate a position in a holding that I have and a company that I have. What do you need? So wait a minute. Listen, this is what I say. If you need more than $5,000 at any point, that means that you're probably doing something illegal and you just need some bail money, 10% bond just in case you go to jail. What do I need more than a few $1,000s or $5,000 at any point for? Just curious. What do I need more than a few $1,000s for? Help me to understand what you need more than a few $1,000s for at any point for an emergency. For an emergency, what do you need more than a few $1,000s for? I'm waiting. Somebody said, well, what if you lose your job? So you saying you're going to get evicted tomorrow? Just curious. Do they immediately evict you once you lose your job? First of all, I got about 7 or 8 different streams of income. I don't give a fuck about losing no job. I don't care about losing no job. Just curious. Are they going to evict you tomorrow? Is your mortgage due tomorrow? You can't get no, it's not going to take 1 or 2 business days before you have to pay for it? What are y'all talking about? Somebody said a car repair. So you need more than $5,000 for a car repair? I'm curious. I'm listening. I'm reading the chat, and I'm trying to figure out what you need more than a few $1,000s for at any given period of time for an emergency. If you get kidnapped in Mexico, ain't none of y'all actually coming up with nothing. You can't even think about nothing. None of y'all can actually say anything that you need all of this additional $30,000 for. Let me tell you something, bro. If I just lost every single stream of income that I have, and I got a lump sum of money, let's say I'm sitting on $50,000 in cash, I'm not using it for that. I'm going back to the mud. There's no way that I'm going to use my cushion to maintain a lifestyle until I can build the cushion back up. No, I'm fucking getting rid of everything. I'm getting rid of everything. If I'm sitting on $30,000 to $50,000 and I lose everything, right? I'm going back into the mud. We about to move in together, me and my brothers or something like that, right? Anything. Whatever it is that we got to do, but it's no way that I'm spending my money on maintaining a lifestyle. I'm going to the mud. I'm getting rid of every fucking thing. I don't need nothing. Y'all don't got insurance? So the hospital was kicking y'all out for not having insurance? Listen, hospitals cannot kick you out for not having insurance, A. But B, you should be having medical insurance. That's what I got a job for. My medical insurance covers any kind of hospital visits. I have great medical insurance. I got great health care coverage. Y'all don't even know. Y'all holding on to money so that you can buy things that you don't actually need, and then you can justify it, or you just need that safety cushion, that mentality of holding a whole bunch of money that you don't need to hold, and then it's continuing to erode because it doesn't even beat the rate of inflation. What are y'all talking about? I don't see anybody giving me a justification of why you need that type of money. So I'm going to continue to go. I'm reading Super Chat shortly.
And the pandemic is people were not spending money on the things that they were accustomed to spending on.
As inflation has set in, the monthly saving rate has taken a tumble. This rate only describes 1 month of earning and saving. Take a look at the total deposits held by customers at banks, and you'll see that there's way more value in people's accounts than any time before the pandemic.
A lot of people would point to excess savings that occurred early in the pandemic, something like $2 to $2.5 trillion in savings.
Let me tell y'all what happened during the pandemic. Well, I'll break that down in a minute.
above what we would have otherwise expected were saved by American households. Over the past 9 to 12 months, that stash of savings has eroded. It's probably somewhere in the 1 to 1.5 trillion range.
You had folks across the country accumulating.
Somebody said, what if you got a death in the family? Rita, how much did it cost me to bury my father? And he had a great funeral. I know, I can tell you exactly how much it cost, but I don't know if you know. Somebody said, what if you got a funeral? Let me see. I don't even have to call nobody. It cost me the equivalent of, I think, it's funny because I remember a guy said, yeah, and I'm going to go by, I was standing at Anton's father's grave, and I was pissing on it. You know, they was being disrespectful or whatever. And I was like, oh, yeah? Well, where is he buried? Because my father is cremated. It cost me like, we had the funeral. It was a really great procession. We had it at the funeral home or whatever and everything like that. And then we wound up cremating him. And it cost me like $5,000. Cost me $5,000. Hold on 1 second. Let me go. This is my guy, Charleston. Yo, what up, C?
Say, what's up, Anton?
A bit of a war chest of savings, and that really has helped to buoy the economy, particularly in a place like the US where consumption is such a big part of GDP.
The top half of earners have over $1 trillion in excess savings. That's nearly 3 times as much as the bottom half, according to federal economists. But they believe the lower half still collectively holds hundreds of billions in excess savings. By their count, it breaks down to about $5,500 per household. A note here, this may not mean that you have $5,000 in spare cash laying around. It may have gone to pay off that amount in student debt, or a mortgage, or a car, or towards your retirement.
Let me tell you the real interesting thing about this whole situation, though. What y'all don't understand is that if you look at your car note, right, and this is what I want y'all to do. If you look at your car note, or not even your car note, look at your statement that you get every month. Most people just ignore it and they get an electronic statement, an e-statement. And look at your car payment. Look at your house payment. Look at your credit card statements. Look at all of these different things that y'all buying, right? Y'all hold this money, but then y'all make bad decisions on a daily basis as to what it is that you are investing in the first place. Let me say it one more time. Y'all sit here and save money, live a dumb lifestyle, and then make payments on things that don't add value into your life. So when you have a credit card bill, for example, and you're carrying a balance on a month-to-month basis, and you got a 27% interest rate, or you got a 18% interest rate, or a 21% interest rate, and you look at the payment that you're making over into the mortgage company, right? And you look at the payment that you're making over into the car company, you're literally giving away free money every single time that you hold on to that debt. You're giving away free money every single time that you make a payment. When you get that 30-year mortgage, and you look at that payment, and that payment breakdown is you got $1,000 mortgage and $950 is going towards the interest payment, and then the other $50 in the beginning of the mortgage is going towards the principal. You're giving them a free $950 because you don't want to pay off the debt faster, because you want to hold on to the money in order to feel, not actually be, but feel more secure about where you are in life, or your ability to be able to maintain a lifestyle if anything was to ever go wrong in your life. Y'all give away free money every single day. Every day, because you trying to make sure that you feel a certain type of way instead of doing. The math is in my favor. The math is in my favor. The math says that I'm right. The math says that I'm right. The math says that I'm patient enough to actually prevent myself from ever paying monthly payments and interest on stuff that does not have any value into my life. Larry Walker said it cost him $7,000 to bury his mother. Funerals ain't got to be expensive. That's because y'all want to ride with horse-drawn carriages and gold plates on something that's going into the ground. Yeah, they want to do all of the dumb stuff. Our priorities is out of order as a culture. I'm not even saying as black people, because as a culture, as an American culture, as a Western culture, as people that embrace a hip-hop culture all across the board, our priorities is out of order. Financing is designed to make the finance companies and the car companies more money, because it allows for them to be able to sell more vehicles, and it allows for the finance company to capitalize off of the fact that you don't have the money, or you refuse to sit down long enough to generate the revenue and save up the revenue to then get you where you need to go from to and from A to B as cheap as possible, until you can actually build up enough assets that then provides for your lifestyle, and then you can buy whatever it is that you want to buy. Nope, you got to have 4G autos, and you got to have a sound system, and you got to be out there taking care of that hoe and buying stuff at the bar that you can't even afford to anyway. No, you want to drink Don Julio and 1738 and all of this other type of junk, right? You want to drink Woodford Reserve and all of this stuff. Man, take your ass to the bar, network effectively, and go and get you a Diet Coke. Get you a Sprite. If she gonna let you bust it open, she gonna let you bust it open anyway. Go and get you a Sprite. Why you gotta be out there drinking and trying to keep up with the Joneses? You're not even built like that. Go and get you a Sprite. Go and kick it with your friends at the bar. Walk around, and then take your ass home after you exchange some Instagram profiles with some people. Go and have some fun and get you a Sprite, homie. Get you a Sprite. Get you an appetizer. Get you an appetizer. No, I got to be down there on the floor with Anton. You ain't got Anton money. You ain't got Anton money. I have no debt. I have nothing that I owe anybody whatsoever. At all. We different. So when I spend money, I'm just spending it. I showed y'all yesterday. I showed y'all my accounts. I went through my back end. I showed y'all a lot of the stuff. I showed you the $30,000 in plane tickets that I bought over to Tokyo. I can do that because I paid cash for my stuff. I paid cash for my plane tickets over to Tokyo, and they cost me the equivalent of about $31,000. No, y'all got Klarna, Afterpay, before pay, during the pay, after the pay. And then you getting the fees racked up on top of it, and you late, and you ain't even got $1,000 to be able to carry you over if you have an emergency. Our priorities is fucked up. It's out of whack.